like you said.
Yes, it does. Yeah, you're like what, 2 grand for a block on its own, 2,500.
Yep.
Like that, yeah, yeah. So my dream build is I'd love to do a Pro Charge 408 dart block, and then something
Nice.
around that like 700 to 900 horsepower range. Obviously, it wouldn't be so much a daily driver at that point, but those are like
Yeah,
the end goals. But like you said, just boils down to having the finances to do something like that.
exactly. And you said a little bit earlier, I don't know if you were joking or not, about, maybe the On3 turbo kit. Would you ever introduce boost to that car?
Yeah, so I want to do the Holly Sniper EFI. So my wife and I have been talking, just kind of figuring out how to make that happen. So if that happens this year, then I might go on 3 at the end of next year. So the rest of the car is kind of built for it, except for the rear end, and that's why I was joking around and asking you about your transmission, like how it's holding up. Because if it's holding up for you, I'm not going to go dogging around on the car light to light, and I kind of take
Yeah,
care of stuff. So I would assume as long as I'm not thrashing the hell out of it, that the transmission will hold up. But um, my same buddy down in Texas has it on his 5-liter car, and he daily drives that one, and he's like 520 to the wheels, and says it daily drives perfectly, and he loves it, and it's super smooth, really easy to install. So I
yeah.
would love to do that. And then with the self-learning system with the Holly Sniper, it'll get the car going until I can afford to or have time really to get it dropped off somewhere and get it tuned.
Absolutely. And then you get your good gas mileage.
Yeah.
Ryan had asked, how's the fitment on the SVE pipe?
Perfect. So what's nice is the SVE system actually ships you in 3 pieces. So you got the back X section, and then you got the 2 down pipes that come down, and then it's not one solid system like some companies offer. So it gives you the flexibility to kind of move stuff around, which is really nice.
Okay, perfect. We'll say, what's up, Dom? Dom came on and he's talking about Red Sox and Yankees with Ryan, but we won't go that route. So I want to ask you a question. It's more personal for me because I saw you posted about it. I saw that you bought the Eastwood lighting system for underneath the hood,
Yeah.
and I gotta know what you think about that because I want one.
Oh, it's killer. I'll put it on the car real quick. So they're running a deal right now where I want to say it was like $165, and I think that was after shipping. No, $180 after shipping.
You guys got to see this. Watch this thing.
So what's
if
nice?
You don't have this, I don't know how you're seeing because I can't see in my shop. Check this out.
So I've got lights, but they're not the greatest. So what's nice is you get for 100, I think it was $180. You get the bar system for the car. You actually get 3 lights, and you get the stand, all for $180 after shipping. And then they last, I think it was 2 hours on full, and then like 5 hours on low charge, and then it's no time at all to charge them. But I'll turn them off so you can see the difference.
Wow.
So.
Oh my God, dude! I need that so bad.
Yeah, they're pretty killer, and I thought it'd be really cool too. So the next time I go to a car show, I'm gonna bring them and just keep them on their lowest setting. So I'll put them on the lowest setting now, so just see how bright they are. But even on the lowest setting, that lasts hours.
Man, yeah, I tell you what, when you're working on your car, there's nothing more that you need than light. Tools are obviously important, but having lighting,
Yeah.
Because in my engine bay, all of my components are. Yes, you got it on. That is killer. And then it has like rubber things around, so it doesn't really touch your hood, right?
Yeah, no metal touches the car at all, which is nice. And then the lights clip off of there, super easy to mount on the tripod system, which is what the phone is sitting on right now. So as of right now, I'm really impressed with it, and I love it. So highly recommend it to anyone looking for like a nice set of shop lights. And we've already when we go camping, we're going to bring them. So they've got magnetic bases. You can move them all around. And then each light comes with its own, I think it's a 6 or a 9 foot charging cord.
Yeah.
As well as a 4 foot or 5 foot adapter for your car. So you can charge them in the car on the go.
Wow. I got to get myself set. And guys and girls, Brian and myself were not sponsored by Eastwood. So I saw that on your page and I'm like, because I've been looking for one. I seen, there was one other one. It's like a bar, but I like those because they can move.
Yep, and they come off super easy. So the bar was the selling for me, or selling point. With the deal with the light stand and the fair light, you just can't beat
Dom, his engine bay is like shiny, shiny. If he has those lights, he will definitely need sunglasses.
Oh, you will need shade for sure.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna need sunglasses for sure. That's awesome, man. I'm gonna check those out. So I saw on your page you were at one show, and I didn't have time to, I guess, write it down or which one it was, but out where you are, and you're in Virginia, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. What car shows do you typically head out to, out your way, or do you travel far to go to shows?
Every now and then we'll just hit up local shows at like wineries or breweries. Most of the ones that we've been to lately in this area have really all been like on the whim. We'll go somewhere, see a flyer, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to do that. We weren't really going to a whole lot of shows over the last couple of years because we didn't really have a car or the time, and I've got a 1-year-old, so we were really focusing on her. So the shows that we've been going to, the big ones, have all been out of state, like Foxtoberfest. We were signed up to go to Chocolate, so whenever that kicks back up, we want to make it to Mustang Week this year. We were briefly chatting about that the other night. So all the big shows we go to are out of state. There is a local car club that I just joined, so I'll probably start hanging out with them on weekends when this whole COVID thing is over, as well as another group up north that I joined while the whole COVID thing was going on. So.
Gotcha. I know it's crazy to. That's such a hard question too, because you don't know which ones are actually going to happen. But I talked to Mike McClay, who actually, I don't know if he actually runs Mustang Week, or I know he works for it.
The majority of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking to him, and he said obviously it's happening, and they're having a few different events, and you can see that all on their Mustang Week page. So at least we know that one's definitely happening.
Yeah, so someone posted a photo yesterday, and I think he reshared it this morning. It said Mustang Week, and it was a picture of an empty parking lot. And his caption on that was like, "I just want to thank whoever the person was that made this picture, because all it's doing is pushing us to work 10 times harder to make this happen." So.
Whoa, I didn't see that. Really?
Yeah. It's on. Check out his Facebook page. It was one of the latest posts that he did. So,
wow, was someone being like a turd doing that or something?
I don't know, but he took it as motivation to kind of kick it into another gear and just let people know, like, hey, this is still happening. So.
Hell yeah. And I think your wife, Brandy, said family vacations. I think she wants to go on another one.
Yeah, well, like Foxtoberfest, we turned that starting last year into our family vacation, and so all of our birthdays are 9 days apart. So the 20th, the 23rd, and the 29th, well, I kind of have to have a talk with my daughter every year now and be like, hey, Foxtoberfest is on your birthday. We'll do whatever you want the weekend before, weekend after. Are you okay with this? Things like that. I think we have like a conversation a month about this. Just, are you sure you're still okay with this? Because we've talked about it 100 times. And excuse me, so she's all for it now. So we kind of celebrate my daughter's birthday now. We're going to start doing that at Foxtoberfest every year.
That's so funny. You sound like me with my son. Every time I want to go to a car show, yeah. I gotta almost like bribe him. I'm saying, all right, we'll go to the car show and then we'll do X, Y, and Z. And I gotta talk him into it.
Yeah, no, it's great. And then when Hershey comes back around, the girls will go do the theme park thing while I stay and hang out with some of the car guys. So it'll work out really well. And my wife has this dream about selling everything we have and doing the motorhome, trailer the car everywhere for car shows when we get older anyway. So she's already into that and she wants to do it. So super blessed.
That's awesome, man. What would be that sounds like a great way to retire and just then enjoy life, man.
It is. So
Bob said to ask you what mufflers you recommend for an 05 GT.
Man, I cannot tell you. I don't know what sounds good so I know on like the 4.6 motors, I'm a huge fan of the SLP loudmouths.
Yeah.
Anything after that, I really couldn't tell you. My dad has.
Is he related to you, Ryan?
Who's this?
Bob Drum.
Oh, is that my dad? What's up, Dad? Yes, yeah. That's what it's saying. So my dad's got pipes mufflers on his 05 GT, and they sound pretty good.
Okay.
He had holes in his, and we were trying to figure out. at the time it was my mom's car, but we can't do something really crazy. So what can we put on here that she'll still drive? And the pipes was on there. It's a little louder than stock, and I think he likes it.
Okay, because yeah, that's what he said. He said, "Ask what you put on your mom's GT." I guess.
Yeah, it's his now. It's his car. So my mom got a newer EcoBoost Mustang and handed the '05 down to my dad.
Oh wow! So like a few people have Mustangs in your family. You're not the only one.
No, so yeah, so my mom and dad have always had ponies and pickup trucks. So it's fun when they all pull up into the driveway and they're all sitting around in the driveway.
It's like a mini car show.
It is, yeah. When the whole family gets together, definitely, for sure.
That's killer. That's killer. All right. So I got a question for you about giving advice because your story is so unique where you got your first Mustang and you didn't even know how to drive standard, which, you know, I'm sure that happened to maybe a few people, but then you got into the Mustang world and you've done so much to your car. What advice could you give to a new enthusiast in our day and age if they're looking to build a Fox body, you know, moderate build themselves?
What's the name of the guy that was on yesterday?
That was Gabriel from I Can't Breathe.
So
Yeah.
he hit it like the nail right on the head. So I guess it all depends on like your budget, really. It's like I had $2,000 to start off with, so I really didn't have a choice. I lucked out and had a straight body and a motor that ran forever. So finding a body that's not rusted, Foxes have their parts under the doors, the back of the trunk lid. So as long as you're getting a rust-free body, sticking with a car that was kind of living its life down south, not necessarily up north, so the salt's not killing the car. And then, like he said the other day too, is if you're looking at it as a long-term project, try to find a 4-cylinder because typically those have the best bodies. They're less ragged out, things like that. Other than that, it's really just find something that when you look at, when you look at something, when you're shopping for a car or a motorcycle or a bike or anything like that, at least for me, when I've gone searching for certain things, I'll know what I want. And then when I see it, there's just something that hits you. There's like, man, that's it. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get this. I know it's over budget or it may be under budget or whatever, but that's it. That's the thing. That's what I want. And my dad's mentioned this quite a few times where when you make that purchase and you're looking into modding and you're getting to that point when you have to constantly turn around to look at what you're driving as you're walking away from it, that's when you know you've made the right purchase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, man, that's hot. Man, that's sexy. Man, this is cool. Or man, this is a total shitbox, but I don't care because I know what I'm going to do with it. You know what I mean? I've had my moments like that with some of my cars, but seeing the end result, knowing what you're going to get to, knowing that it's not going to happen overnight unless you've got mommy and daddy's credit card. It's just putting the time and the sweat into learning how to work on your stuff is probably the biggest thing you can do for yourself. Not paying someone else to constantly do everything. Just get out there, start fiddling with your stuff, and make mistakes because that's how you're going to learn and just move on. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice I would ever get.
Man, I think you nailed it on the head, man. That's great advice. And I really like what you said, about yesterday, Gabrielle said too. And I think that's great advice with the 4-cylinder. I never thought about that with the 4-cylinder Fox body and it being a great car to start with, to build into and things like that. I think that's awesome too.
Yes, I would do a 4-cylinder if I was buying like a long-term project. But
yeah,
I would go nuts if I bought a 4-cylinder car and like crawled up to a light and got smoked by a Prius or something like that. I'd probably go between my legs.
Or that thing I posted the other day. I posted this, I don't even know what it was, but it looked like a smart car. And I was like, what? Is this considered a smart car? That's the last thing you want in a Mustang.
Yeah.
As you said, Brian, walking away from your car and that feeling that you get, I started to think about you and the history that's behind your car. I can imagine what, kind of when you look back at your car, the things that, you know, might cross your mind each time you look at it, because it has so much history. Unlike me, I bought the car. I'm like, that's the one I want. Real, not a lot of history in it, but yours just has a lot there. It's just, that's so cool.
No, that's awesome. So, um, my wife was a huge part of this car, and if you go far enough back on my Instagram page, you'll see it. But one of my favorite photos ever of this car is when, Jesus, probably a couple months after we bought it, I had the motor out of the car, and the engine bay was just gross. Like rats had made nests. The car didn't move for 10 years. Like
Yeah.
nothing on the car worked. But I've got a photo of my wife in the engine bay, literally sitting in it, like with a grinding wheel on a drill, just grinding the crap off the inside of the car. And
Brandy said it was your firstborn.
oh yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Oh, this thing probably cost more than my firstborn at this point, but yeah, I mean, we were in, I think, and she'll probably chime in and tell you, I can't remember if we were dating or engaged at that point, but that's when I was like, oh my gosh, this woman's a keeper, man. She's like, she loves Mustang. Like that's how we first met, was Metallica and Mustangs. We agreed on those two things like the first 30 seconds we met, and we were on a date not that long afterwards, and she's been huge into this the whole time. But favorite photo ever is her in the bay just chiming away with the drill.
Oh my God, that's she's a keeper, man. Once you hear those two things together, that's
Yeah,
a score.
it is.
We got a question for you. What is your favorite year of Fox Body?
The 79 to 86 era. So I love the 4i. So I've had 285s and 86 and 87, excuse me, 89. I think those are the Fox bodies that we've owned, and they each have their like, I like this thing over the other. But the 4i's, just the front end on those cars just scream at me. I love the indented lights, the fog lights that sit on the bottom. Obviously, I'm partial to the 79, but the
Yeah.
79 to 86 era.
I love them too. I'm sure. Brian? Do you follow Tony Frank? He's got the red one.
Is that his Instagram name?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Suicide Kings. I'm sorry.
Yep. Yes, I do.
Yeah, he has a nice 4i as well. I love them. I love seeing them and what people, you know, do to them, you know, whether to restore them or, you know, the unique things that get done to them. I really like them.
Oh yeah, and that's, I get such a kick out of car shows and seeing the cars in person, because every time you go to something like that, you pick up something from every car that you see, and you're like, oh man, I got to do this, or oh, I got to go back and do that. And then a lot of what you see on this car is little snippets and ideas from either magazine articles or stuff that I see in like everyone else's rides, and I kind of tweak it and make it my own here. But yeah, following everyone else's build and seeing what they're doing with them is really cool.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually what kind of re-inspired me is, I mean, when I hopped on Instagram and started seeing, you know, the Fox bodies again, and I can't remember exactly off the top of my head the handful that I saw. I'm like, wow, those are just like, I would never have a car like that. It's just too nice, or just, I can imagine what it costs. And
Yeah.
then it happened, just like you and I. One thing happened, and then boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. Now you start with like wheels and tires, and before you know it, like you've got an on-3 kit on order, and it's Christmas in July.
It's crazy. And then Brandy answered the question for you, but Marshall had asked if you did the 5-lug swap, and how long ago did you do that?
The 5-lug swap was during the build process last year. So it was 4-lug until I had it sitting on jack stands on the other side of the garage, and just literally stripped everything off the underside of the car to include the engine bay. And then it was, when I started the build, now that I have the room in the garage, it was I don't care how long this takes now, because now we've got a house with the space to do it. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And I just slowly building pieces apart. And actually what's interesting is the 5-lug swap itself wasn't too bad, but the brake setup on this car is what took me the longest. It was trying to piece together all the little intricate pieces for the rear end, because no one makes a kit that bolts an 8.8 rear into a 79 chassis. So
I
Mac
didn't think of that.
Motorsports didn't do it. I called them. I called LMR, CJ Pony. No one made a kit. So it goes back to the learning how to work on your own stuff. I reached out to Jegs and I bought one of their brake flaring tools that sit in the vise, and I bought a whole bunch of brake tubing and an assortment of fittings, and I taught myself how to bend my own brake lines. So all the hard lines on this car, with the exception of the ones coming off the master cylinder, I custom bent all the lines myself because no one made a kit for it. So
wow, that's great. Like, I didn't even think of that, but that's crazy. Well, that's kind of good to know. Wow. Maybe we could manufacture one. That'd be, that'd be
if there's
awesome.
a kid out there, I kind of want to know and I kind of don't. I kind of don't want to know because then it's like, oh my God, I could have bought a kit and be done with it. But yeah, I reached out to quite a few companies and none of them said that anything like that existed. So, because the brake line that comes from the master cylinder that goes to the back of the car pops out of the passenger side, whereas I guess most of them pop out the driver's side. Yep. So I had to create a line that goes from there to the driver's side, and then an array of different fittings and everything to get it to the rear end. So
wow, good for you, man.
It's fun, man. It's a good learning experience.
Yeah. Oh, now you know how to make brake lines.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Wowie, wowie. Let's make sure we got all the questions. We got about 5 minutes left here. I think we did a pretty awesome job. We got that one. We got Marshall's. I think we covered it all, my good friend.
Cool.
We did. We did an awesome job, man.
No, this was cool. I really appreciate you having me on, and keep doing the videos because I rock my daughter to bed every night at 9 o'clock, and like this is our thing. We sit down, wait for the live videos to come on, and she watches them until she knocks out, and I just sit in the chair with her until 10 o'clock and move on. But no, it's been awesome. It's been fun.
I honestly, I can't thank you enough, because without you guys actually being, wanting to have a conversation with me for the other people, it wouldn't even happen. And, I can't thank you enough for that, and sharing your story, what you've done. Like, I really enjoyed this.
Cool, man. Me too. Thank you. Yeah, it's been so a lot. Some of the videos I've seen are people that I know and I've met online and met at car shows after the fact. And I would argue probably 75% of the videos you've done are people I've followed their pages, but it was really nice to see them get their passion, get the backstory for them and their car too. And it just, you kind of feel like you get to know the person a little better. So now, like when I go to other car shows in the future and I'll see some of these people, it'll be nice because, I remember that. So no, it's cool. I love it. Keep doing them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I thank you so much. And just so you guys know, tomorrow we'll be taking off as far as the show goes. But Friday, I don't know if you guys all know Curbinator, who makes the rear spoilers, the fender bolts, and a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to have him on Friday to talk about all the parts that he manufactures.
Right. Cool.
So we'll have another great guest if you guys are looking for something to do and hang out.
Yeah, you just got his Thunderbolt kit, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. It took me, honestly, about 10 to 15 minutes, and it just looks better, because the bolts that I had a little rust on them and blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to support what he was doing, too.
Oh, definitely. No, and the price point is amazing. I don't think they'll fit the 79 fenders. I think the thread pitch or something's different. So when I hop on Friday, I'll have to ask him.
Yeah, we'll ask him for sure. Because I know on the little baggie that I bought, it said 86 to, was it 86 to, gosh, I can't remember. 86 to.
Yeah, I remember being 86 and up.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. But we'll be able to ask him all those questions on Friday for sure.
Cool, man. I'll be there.
Rock and roll, Brian. I appreciate you and your wife hopping on with us and everyone that came on with us tonight. So stay tuned till Friday, and Brian, stay safe, and I will talk to you soon.
Cool. Thanks, Eddie.